Healing touch is not just a class. It's a journey.
You don't know exactly what you're doing or where you're going, but you're going with all force.
You feel it in your heart. You feel it in your hands. It electrifies your body. It enhances your senses.
It can help them with headaches, bruises, incisions, cuts. It's not just the big stuff, it's the little stuff as well.
I've had people sit in my class, first part of the program, with their hands like this is, we used to, not so much anymore. By the afternoon of the next day, they're hooked, and when's level 2?
Once that you have a little taste of it, it's like you can't have enough.
When I was first introduced to Healing Touch, I felt like I was at home.
And the first class I did, I just had that feeling. I knew that this was going to be my life's work.
What Healing Touch is a philosophy of life and a way of being in the world that facilitates our own self-healing and thus the healing of other people.
The first thing we do is we try to really know ourselves and become home and really embrace who we really are. And I think that is almost like a miracle. It's a magical thing that someone experiences.
It is a collection of modalities or techniques. They're put together in such a way that the person comes into relaxation, called the relaxation response. During that relaxation response, the practitioner is able to use their hands in an exchange of energy that releases pain, releases the toxins from the body, releases the stress that they're carrying.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was very, very deep, very relaxing for me. I had told them that my leg and my knee were bothering me, and it just feels super now.
Many times the clients will fall asleep and they'll say, I have never rested so well, or I never felt so good, or my pain is gone.
Healing Touch is officially a continuing education program for nurses, healthcare practitioners, and interested lay people.
The applications can be done in the hospital as well as in the field.
You don't have to believe a certain thing in order to be able to practice Healing Touch. As long as you believe that there's just something bigger than you can fit into the program and you can begin doing this work.
It's a partnership with the person that you're working with. It's not a power over, it's a partnership and you're doing it together, and the person is doing the healing, the person who is receiving Healing Touch.
Hey, what if you never had to take another aspirin to get rid of a headache? Many medical professionals and even insurance companies are now recognizing the effectiveness of Healing Touch. WFMY News 2's Rosemary Plyben on how it can help you feel better.
Smoothing, clearing.
It looks like some kind of new age therapy session.
Bringing calm to the energy field.
Laying hands on a patient's leg, even waving them over the body as a method to relieve pain.
I was having a headache one night and a friend of mine said she knew something that could help me, and I thought she was going to go get some Advil. And she came back and started waving her hands around my head.
Within 5 minutes, her headache was gone. Now she's a believer. So much so, she helps to teach a class on Healing Touch.
The more high-tech we become, the more our knowledge advances, the more we need to balance that.
Bill Satterwhite hopes to teach the techniques to some of his patients' parents.
I really want to be able to do more than just the things I learned in medical school to help kids that are hurting.
Hand above the heart or on it.
Deborah says not everyone buys it, but it still works.
You can have a skeptical person and they can still receive Healing Touch.
Which is why so many caregivers are learning to use their hands to heal. Rosemary Plyben, WFMY News 2.
We've been formally studying Healing Touch now for well over 10 years.
It's not biology, it's not chemistry, it's not physiology, it is nothing I have studied in nursing. It's got to be physics.
We have over 50 studies that have been done in Healing Touch. 4 studies have been supported financially by the National Institutes of Health.
Healing Touch is unique in all of the modalities that I've studied in that it is a repairing technique. It actually repairs the systems within the computer of who we are, and then the person.
What happens with relaxation is that the body releases the endorphins and dopamines in the brain, and that chemical reaction then softens the muscle tissue, opens up the tissue itself, brings in more oxygen and nutrients with the blood flow and the circulation that is established.
We now are able to say there is scientific support for what we're doing.
So Healing Touch brings to the table one of the few modalities that really addresses the body on a mind, body, spirit, emotional level. There's no prescription drug that can do that. So I found myself many times, particularly with patients who have had bypass surgery as a perfect example, I'm doing everything that Western medicine can do. They're getting the best of Western medicine, the best of medication, and yet, quite frankly, they're not turning the corner. And I have seen time and time again where I will have a Healing Touch practitioner come in and do something as simple as a chakra connection, and the patient turns around. And that may sound anecdotal, but when you see it enough times, it becomes medicine.
The client notes that they feel different. They feel different emotionally, mentally, and spiritually.
She seemed to just like take the energy in and feel totally kind of washed over by it. And it would rejuvenate her and make her feel ready to face the next day or ready to face the next event.
Even if the physical problem wasn't remedied, they feel more at peace with themselves, or have more of an inner strength to go on with whatever the physical issue is. And they realize something happened.
I actually did a PhD just last year on Healing Touch and depression. There was a gentleman who telephoned me, and when he first came, he was on medication for depression, and I didn't try to get people off medication. It was what I was really interested in, what was their experience. One of the things I asked him was, what's your feeling today after you've had this session? And he said, it's like lying on a marshmallow mattress. And I think that is a wonderful description of when people are feeling really relaxed. And I said, is there any term that you could put to your experience? And he said, well, this is a treasury of grace. Well, Healing Touch has changed my life in so many ways. I think that I was getting a little bit stale in the whole mental health area.
I looked at my job and I realized that I was getting really nothing back on the emotional or the spiritual level. I was getting a salary and almost left nursing because of it.
Now I'm able to address even more the emotional, mental, and spiritual side of healthcare and be that master nurse that I've always wanted to be.
After having a Healing Touch treatment, for me personally, it was eye-opening because I felt like my life force was reinstalled. It took me from being completely exhausted to feeling alive again. And I thought, this is something I need to learn more about.
It encourages us to reach our potential, to be the best we can be in the areas that are most important to us.
When you start giving Healing Touch to someone, it's that feeling of, it just feels so good.
I can see a powerful blue-green wave of pure healing washing through my body from head to toe.
Listening to a soothing CD, 79-year-old Edith Taylor prepares for another surgery. Before and after each operation, Edith gets this 10-minute Healing Touch therapy.
There are no pills, there's no chemicals, you don't even have to believe in it.
Cardiologist Mimi Guarnieri of Scripps Integrative Medicine explains how it works.
It's based on the concept that this is our physical body, but extending out from our physical body is what's called our energy body, and that the energy body can be manipulated through techniques.
It's a very light touch, and then we do things like balancing our chakras, opening them for the patient, clearing their electromagnetic field.
It's not a massage. Sometimes hands just hover above the body.
no, it really doesn't feel like anything.
Still, according to a decade of research, this kind of touch therapy cuts pain and recovery time in half.
There's been a number of research studies that have shown that healing touch can promote reduction in pain, relieve anxiety, accelerate wound healing.
Physicians are slowly going to be changing, but it's going to be changing because the public wants it. The public wants hands-on. The public wants compassion. The public wants somebody that's going to listen to them and work with them. And they're going to start demanding it more and more.
What if we told you that the power of human touch can ease painful migraines and that it can actually help the body heal from an operation or from an injury? It is a non-traditional medicine, and as Fox 13 Cynthia Smoot tells us now, it is in high demand at a Bay Area hospital.
Kimberly Garcia is a registered nurse, has been for 23 years, but it's her other training as a certified healing touch practitioner that brings her to this bedside.
And so we're just allowing the energy to move back and forth between our hands.
Healing touch uses the energy we all have, what's called our biofield, to help the body help itself. Garcia says doctors at St. Joseph's Hospital were a little skeptical at first, but after getting relief for their own aches and pains, have come to appreciate what she has to offer.
I do have doctors that write orders on the patient's charts for healing touch sessions. One physician had mentioned actually making it a routine post-op order, and I was like, whoa, wait until we have enough people to do that.
One hospital embraces healing touch, and their satisfaction goes, the patient's satisfaction goes up. And then the other hospital says, well, how can we get one of those programs? Well, how can we get one of those nurses? And that's the way it's going to go, because the public is going to seek the practice where it is being offered.
Some Twin Cities hospitals are offering cancer patients more than chemo for their fight. A healing touch and a little incense, that might become part of the prescription.
Healing Touch has also saved patients money by reducing hospital stays as well as the need for medication. It even has an insurance billing code now.
To me, that's what's really exciting, is we're changing the world one step at a time, or one person at a time.
Janet started researching energy-based therapies and energy medicine 20 or so years ago. She was an RN, and she felt that we were losing compassion in healthcare. So she developed a Healing Touch program to allow people in nursing to relate with their patients and come to a point of understanding that their energies could come together and they could help each other in the healing process.
The program was put together by Janet step by step, energetically, and it speaks for itself.
I believe Janet's vision for people was to be able to offer well-being, that in a way that was empowering for the person, simple. All you need is a pair of hands and a centered heart, and know the techniques. That is, the simplicity of it is the beauty of it.
It was really a gift to continue to take classes with Janet and watch as she was called to bring this out to the country through the Holistic Nurses Association. And watching that unfold as her curriculum, her program in Denver became a national program, and then eventually an international program.
Healing Touch is now taught in the 50 states in the U.S. and also in 30+ countries around the world. We have an international organization that is our membership body called Healing Touch International, and also Healing Touch International Foundation, which is our foundation body that gives grants for research and other healing projects. We also have Energy Magazine, which lists the classes in the magazine and also gives you stories about how Healing Touch can enhance your life and those around you.
It wasn't long before it started traveling to other countries, so that now we have active organizations in a number of other countries and classes all over the world.
As we visited Lima, we were taken to an area where they have a Healing Touch center set up. It's set up on a dump. These are people who squatted, came from the hills. It reeks of methane gas. Vegetation doesn't grow there. Yet you have this wonderful spiritual center of healing touch. These people don't have medical care. The only thing they have is a healing touch program there that allows them to use their spirituality to help each other, ease each other's pains.
Healing Touch has given them an opportunity to work especially with the domestic violence that's prevalent there. Whenever you have poverty, you have an awful lot of domestic violence. Working with women who have been raped since they were children. This program has empowered them because they can now do something for their situation.
You never know where Healing Touch is going to lead you. The next thing you know, you may be in Ecuador teaching classes in slum barrios and traveling all over that country, bringing the word of Healing Touch to people who have very little medical service and very little way to make any difference in their lives. You know, they're living very on the edge. That was part of my opportunity, and it never ceases to amaze me, you know. I'm open, I'm willing, and I never know what that next thing is going to be.
Our current vision is exactly the same as Janet's always was, and that is to see Healing Touch practiced in every home, every hospital, every healthcare facility, and every school.
Giving people the opportunity to change their lives, to be well, to have input into their healing, and to have hope. So Healing Touch equals hope, and I think that's the most important thing that you can do.
Healing Touch was what I'd always been looking for since I went into nursing, which I'm not even going to tell you how many years ago that was.
I believe in Healing Touch, and I've seen my patients benefit.
There's a quote that my mentor says all the time, and she says, and I'm sorry I get a little emotional, but she says, "I'm the best person I will ever be when I do Healing Touch." That's exactly how I feel.
So empower yourself by learning more about Healing Touch. You can visit our website to find out more about our program, learn about how people are actually using Healing Touch in their communities, find a practitioner, find classes in your area, and learn the gift of touch.